Kelly, and today I am making a highly requested video. Lots of persons have been asking me to do corn pie. Now there are at least 2 ways that I make my corn pie, but today I'm going to share with you my favorite way to make corn pie. So let's go over the ingredients. We have 1 can of cream styled corn, or 15 ounces. 1 can of whole corn kernels, or 15 ounces. This is a sweet corn. 3/4 cup of cornmeal. You can also use corn flour if you have it. Half of a medium-sized onion, chopped finely or minced. Half of a sweet pepper, chopped finely or minced. You can use either the red or the yellow, but I use the green one because that is the one that was available here. 1 egg. We're going to beat the egg a little later. 4 ounces of butter. I always like to add a tip of sugar just to sweeten things up a bit, so we're going to use 1 tablespoon of sugar. 1 cup of milk. I always use almond milk, but you can use whatever milk you have. We're going to use 1/4 of black pepper just to spice it up, and a pinch of salt, and then some cheese just to put on the top once we are finished. We're going to saute our onion and our sweet pepper at this time, so we're going to melt our butter. Now we're going to add the onions and the sweet pepper and allow them to saute for about a minute or so until they become nice and tender. They're smelling really good. Now that our onions and sweet pepper are nice and tender, we're going to add our milk and continue to stir, and we'll allow this to boil. So we just keep stirring, make sure everything is nice and combined, and then we're going to slowly add our meal. Now when we're adding the meal, I like to use a whisk because the whisk is easier to deal with, just to make sure we have no lumps in our meal. So we'll allow this to boil, and once it reaches that point, I'll show you the next step. Now we're going to add our meal. Remember, we're going to use the whisk, but we're going to add a little at a time, and just whisk it each time just to make sure it's nice and smooth. Yep, it's nice and smooth, and it should be also getting thick. So after about 4 times, we should have them all in. Now we're going to add our creamed corn and our corn kernels. We're going to add them. Corn pie is so popular in Barbados and lots of Caribbean countries. But wherever you are in the world, this is an ideal dish to make for special occasions or just because. Creamed corn is an excellent side dish. Just look how moist it looks. We're going to add some black pepper and our salt just to spice it up. And of course, our sugar to sweeten it up just a bit more. We're using the whole kernels, the sweet corn, but I still like to add a tip of sugar to sweeten it up. And then we're going to add the egg at the end once we combine this, and then we're going to get ready to bake. So at this time, you can go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees because we're going to get ready to put this in the oven for about 30 minutes. Now our last step is to add the egg. Now just make sure the stove is off. You have to be careful when you're adding the egg because we don't want the egg to scramble. We're going to just add the egg a bit at a time and just mix it in as quickly as possible. We don't want the egg to scramble. We just want the egg to coagulate or to bring everything together. You must be careful with eggs and heat. So we'll add the remaining bit of egg. It's really moist. Once I've added everything together, I'm just going to taste it just to be sure that it doesn't need a bit more seasoning. And if you want to use cheese, cheese is optional. I'm not using cheese within the mixture today, but if you wanted to, you could add a bit of cheese at this point. But I'm just going to taste just to see if this needs a bit more seasoning. Now I added a bit more salt and a bit more black pepper to the mixture. Now you at that point you can adjust the seasoning according to your taste. I wanted it to be a little spicier, so I added a bit more. Now we're going to get ready to bake. So we're going to put the mixture into a greased baking dish, and we're going to allow this to bake for about 30 minutes. We can get it all in here. Oh, it smells really good, and it just continues to look moist. So you must be very careful not to add too much of the meal, because the meal can help it to become dry. But we don't want it to be dry, we want it to be nice and moist. Oh, it looks good. Now the final touch, to add just some cheese. Now we're ready to bake. Just look at it. The corn pie is now done and it looks delicious. Just look, it's moist. You can see the beautiful golden crust at the top. I just couldn't wait. I already took my slice and just look, you can see the whole kernels. You can just see. Enough talk. Let me just taste it. Delicious, highly requested corn pie. And it's also hot. So delicious. I totally understand why you wanted me to make this. Now you need to try it.